848 WABC. Talk with Bernie and Sid in the morning right now. 800-848-9222. Where New York comes to talk. 77 WABC.
I've been promoting all morning long. It was going to be Bo Dietl and Linda Fairstein. I did watch last night When They See Us on Netflix, the special about the Central Park Five, something that Bo was, of course, working with the police department back then and was involved and knows it well. But listen, before we get to all of that, Linda did not make it in today. Jill told us what the situation was, but you're the only person, Bo, to actually speak to Linda. So what happened and why is she not here this morning?
Let me give you a little basis about Linda Fairstein. Linda Fairstein was the head of sex crime for the Manhattan DA squad. She handled thousands of cases, including the infamous nun rape case that when they broke into the convent, these two pieces of garbage, they beat this nun up, they raped her, sodomized her, carved 27 crosses, and stuck a broom into her vagina and left her for dead. Two punks. She was able to prosecute. My partner, Tom Collar, and I called one guy in Chicago, one in New York. Yeah, and then the guy, I blacked out with the one guy there. He said something about my mother or something. I don't remember, but supposedly his jaw got broken. Oh. I don't remember that, but in reality, my point is that is a great prosecutor. She's being dragged through. A lot of people don't realize. I talked to her before. I mean, Linda Fairstein right now is a woman right near a nervous breakdown. She's under police guard, death threats against her. She was advised by her lawyers, do not do any media and all that. This woman is living for doing the right thing, for being a prosecutor now. All of a sudden, when you look at the 2020 piece that they had, I got a little information about that one. The cops that were involved, including the Detective Captain Sal Blando, this was supposed to be a 2020 to show they were guilty. And then all of a sudden it was reversed around. He was on for about 2 hours testifying on 2020. They gave him about 2 minutes on the show. Mike Sheehan, one of my ex-partners, was one of the detectives that handled it. And what had happened was they took it and they reversed it. And everyone here doesn't understand something about this. Okay, I wasn't on the job then. I was retired. It was 1989. Okay. In reality, during that time, you didn't even want to step into Central Park. They had what they call wilding. They had these groups of kids, little children. That's what they wanted to portray them on the Netflix things, like little kiddies.
That's how they did portray them.
Well, you want to know something? There was a guy that was hit by them with a lead pipe in his head. People were robbed on their bicycles. The testimony with their parents there. One guy, wise, he said, "Oh, I was just holding her down." There was another one that testified, "I was playing with her breast." My point is right now, I challenge the Manhattan DA's office right now, Cy Vance, to clear this up once and for all. You have a thing called touch DNA. They didn't have it back then. Right now, if there's any evidence left in this case, I'd like to see them bring that up and see if we got evidence of touch DNA on any of that evidence with that jogger. Fact of the matter is, they weren't little boys there picking flowers and looking for squirrels in Central Park. They were out there wilding. Now all of a sudden they get $8 million, and now they portray this, destroy a woman like this who gave a whole career to protect people and destroy her. And the way they throw little innuendos in there with the Netflix things. Oh, yes.
They put words into her mouth.
What was the remark that was made, Bernie?
One of the remarks was, you go up into the projects and arrest every little thug you can find, or something like that. They put
and they portray the DA. Now, these are hit shots. Everybody's jumping on board. You know, I love to watch CBS This Morning with Gayle King. Everybody just attacks, pile on, like these were innocent little children that were in the park and were grabbed by the cops and confessions were beat at it. That's bullcrap. They were robbing people. Why don't you tell the guy got hit with a lead pipe that nothing really happened then? They were robbing. They knocked people off bikes. And their testimony where they put themselves on the scene. Then this Reyes guy, obviously he came and left his DNA possibly with him or after the fact. My point is right now, they were not innocent five there in Central Park. And I challenge the DA's office. Why don't you clear it up from now, for once and for all? We got touch DNA now. Let's look over the evidence. Let's see if any of these young boys that had nothing to do, if any of their DNA pops up on that evidence, what would that hurt? What would that hurt to look at the evidence?
Look into it. The one you mentioned, Corey Wise. There's one incontrovertible fact that when he was at the scene, he told the cops that the unknown guy, that turned out to be Matthias Reyes, that he stole the woman's cell phone. At that point, nobody had known about a cell phone.
Right.
She was in a coma for 11 days. They didn't find out about a cell phone until after she came out of the
from
coma.
Wise's girlfriend. He said that he was only her down.
Walkman, not a cell phone. Walkman.
Right.
Was only holding her down. He didn't do anything. He testified. His girlfriend testified to the fact he told her he was just holding her down. He didn't rape her.
Yeah.
My point is this. These were no little innocent kids. Now they're heroes. $8 million each. They want more money. And what's the real destruction here is the destruction of Linda Fairstein, a DA. There was no reason in the world to grab people who had nothing to do with that. And the only thing is also Wise had a fight with the other one.
Yusuf.
The Spanish guy.
Oh, Santana.
Oh.
No, that's Santana. The Spanish guy that was in jail with him.
Matthias Reyes.
Yeah.
And
they had a fight. My problem is, before I came on right now, I have a friend who's one of the detectives that were involved in that case. And he said, very, very simple, Bo. Reyes was either with him, came prior or after the fact, and that was the fact. But they were there. They were involved with her. Their bodies were next to her. And I challenged the DA's office. Why don't you clear it up, Cy Vance? Because you got a DA. Then all of a sudden that other DA, what was her name there, that went after Linda Fairstein?
Federer?
No, there was
Elizabeth
another name
Federer?
of a DA there.
She went after Fairstein.
I think she's a judge now or something.
Right.
Well, make a long story short, they went after Linda Fairstein. It was a direct attack against her. They don't like her novels. She writes novels, and everyone's pissed off at Linda Fairstein. You don't take a person's reputation and destroy it like that. She served this city very, very well. Now she's being dragged. She's under police guard. She's death threats against her. This is a woman that gave her whole life to prosecuting people that were prosecuting people that effectively were involved in sex crimes against people. I'm just so upset about it because I thought she was going to be here.
Yeah, no, we did.
And honestly, I apologize to the listening audience, but you got to understand something. This woman, if she doesn't have a nervous breakdown, maybe that would be people would be happy if she had.
Well, I got to ask you this, though. A lot of people that are in our business, we've all received death threats. I've received a ton. Bernie got a couple, obviously, after Rutgers. People, especially in her position, that happens all the time. Yeah. So my question to you is, does she not realize that? Is there something here that you think is maybe more serious than the usual, quote-unquote, death threats people in our position may get?
Well, you got to remember now, if you're watching the Netflix series on TV, all of a sudden they portray these as little altar boys that did nothing wrong. They were railroaded on the case.
Yeah.
You have people that watch that and they believe every aspect of that series. That was one. Then the 2020 thing was on, and then that other commie there,
Ken Burns.
Ken Burns, when he did his act, right? My point is, right now, you have people that are sitting there saying, and I would say the same, I'm 2% black. And I would say if I'm sitting watching this TV thing, how did those scumbag cops railroad these poor children into this? That's horrible. And there could be an anger that's percolating there.
Sure.
And people getting angry. Still, crazy people could do anything. My thing is this. If they had nothing to do with this, I would be the first one to defend them. Right now, I'm getting information. Now, my challenge again, here on your radio show, I've never done this before, is to the Manhattan DA's office. Look at the evidence that was gathered upon that woman being raped and beaten at that time, the jogger. She was in the hospital, remember, about a month and a half. Yep. She was beaten viciously. Let's see if there's any other DA. And I challenge you, Cy Vance. Maybe you could put this to bed. Bloomberg knew it. That's why he didn't want him to cop out. Then Big Bird, no balls. Big Bird with a Stephen old lady there with the $250 million. And Big Bird that owes everybody money. All of a sudden just give the money away. I think there's something like $350 million a year on these suits against the city, against the cops. All it is, just give them the money, let it go away. That's bullcrap. If these kids had nothing to do with it, I'd be the first one to defend these young men. If they had nothing to do with it, show me the evidence, show me that there's no DNA touch, because they didn't have touch DNA then, Bernie. Now they do. We just broke that big case in Kentucky, triple murder.
Yeah.
I challenged the Manhattan DA's office to look over that evidence, show the reality of life, show that the right will be wronged or the wrong will be right.
Or either exonerate or
right.
Or
and I'd be the first one to apologize to those kids if they don't have their DNA.
Right.
Okay?
Fair enough.
Very good.
We happen to agree with. I shouldn't say that. I agree with you. I think those kids were guilty. I was nauseous watching that movie on Netflix last night. From the very beginning, when they show one of these little kids sitting with his dad at a kitchen table talking about the Knicks, like that never really happened. Anyway, One Tough Podcast, great every single week. Who's on this week?
Well, this week we're going to have. We tried to get Charlie Gasparino on, but Fox wouldn't let him come on there.
Is that right? Really?
Yeah, because you guys are competitors to Fox. We're going to have a surprise guest. Last week we had Avery's going to be on.
Sean Avery.
Sean Avery's on the podcast. It opened up yesterday. Sean Avery was great. We're going to have a little surprise guest, but the reality is going to be we thought we were going to have Linda on it,
right.
And she's been told by her lawyers she can't. And I apologize to your listening audience, to everybody out there. I tried to get her in here. I begged her to come in here, and she just said, Bo, please understand. And I do understand. Yeah. And you know what? Again, the challenge from your show, and make the news. Let's look at the evidence. Let's see if there's any DNA, because we didn't have in 1989 what we have today.
Exactly.
Come on, Cy. All you got to do is check. If you don't have their evidence there, I will apologize to each and every one of them.
I like it. Bo throws down the gauntlet to Cy Vance on the Bernie and Sid Show. Thank you very much, Bo Dietl.
Excellent job, Bo.
On WABC Radio. We're coming right back.
Bernie and Sid in the morning, 77 WABC.